Hello, everyone. Yana Lyashenko specializes in targeted audiences to businesses. And in today's video, I will show the entire process from start to finish on how to launch Performance Max or Google Shopping directly on WordPress or, more accurately, on WooCommerce. To be precise, some also use the term exactly WooCommerce. What do we need to launch shopping ad campaigns in any country directly on the WordPress platform? We need only 3 things for this. First, we need a merchant center set up with products that have passed moderation, if you still don't understand what that is. Second, we need to set up the Google Ads account itself. It won't be complicated. Through it, we will directly launch the ads. And third, set up the analytics correctly. The analytics will include several sub-steps. We will set up each of the items that we will need later, and I will explain what each element will be used for. All necessary theme codes will be at the bottom. What do we need to set up Performance Max or Google Shopping directly on WordPress in WooCommerce to effectively achieve our goals? The first thing we will start with is the creation of the Merchant Center. This is one of the longest stages. Why is it long? Because the moderation of our products will take a certain amount of time. What is Merchant Center? Merchant Center is a separate service by Google where we upload information about our products and our store. It is not particularly large, and in this service, Google checks us. For example, it checks whether to allow us to run ads or not. Some may encounter issues if their site is poorly designed, lacks information, is inconvenient. It might get rejected, blocking your domain and requiring remoderation. But we are skipping this moment. It's a completely different story. Most of you are in a pretty good situation. This long period is because moderation and verification of your products can take up to 72 hours, approximately 3 days. That's why it's called the longest stage. Everything else will be quite fast. So, where do we start with setting up our Merchant Center? Since in this video, I will be demonstrating the simplest and absolutely free, you could say, budget option for setting all this up, I will be using tools and plugins that are completely free for you, incredibly easy to install on your WordPress and e-commerce, and that each of you can use. If you found something similar, paid, and better, feel free to use it. As they say, I'm showing the most free and tough option. Where do we start? We need to install this plugin on the website, which is called Google Listing and Ads. This is an absolutely free software plugin. It is collaboratively developed directly by WooCommerce and Google, meaning it is their joint development together. Google supports it, it's cheap and cheerful. You may see a rating of 3.7, which is low, the most budget-friendly option. The most optimal option would be to use this plugin. Why this plugin? Because it makes it very easy to create a Merchant Center and automatically upload all the information to Google Merchant Center. Additionally, we can create the same Google Ads very quickly. The integration is very easy and quick. I would say it's something similar to Shopify because Shopify boasts about being very fast. Just a couple of clicks and everything is ready. It's a similar story here. How can we install it directly on our WordPress WooCommerce? We go to Plugins right here. Click on a plugin. Here you can immediately enter the name of this thing. Google will find something for us now. Now, here it is. Simply click Install Now. Just install. And now we wait for the installation process to complete the install process. So now we simply need to activate this thing. All right, it's activated. Let's go back to the plugin. In the installed plugins, we look for our Google Listing Ads. Click Start. And here the most interesting part begins. Initially, you will see a window similar to mine, which is quite informative and detailed. Here, you will absolutely get millions of customers. Let's get started. I remind you the integration here will be very light. It will all be done through some emails. Everything will be created very easily. Go through all the stages step by step. We click the Start Listing Products button. Let's move on. Here we will have several stages of the settings, nothing complicated. First, we need to set up the account. It is very important to start with this initial first step, which is to connect our WordPress to this plugin. So, to link this WordPress directly with Google, you need to send an email to the admin email associated with your WordPress with the necessary details and confirm it. I will do this indirectly without you, ensuring everything is correctly filled out. So, we have completed this verification procedure. Next, we are prompted to link a Google email through which we will integrate both Google Merchant Center and Google Ads. This step is very important. I suggest creating a separate email for this or pre-select which email you will use to access both Google Ads and Merchant Center. Here I will be prompted to log into the corresponding account. I click Continue and then select all the checkboxes and then Continue. Let's move on to the next stage, although it's taking a bit long, but it is what it is. So after this, we will have a Google Merchant Center blog. Here we have several options. If you already have a Merchant Center, but you created it before you started watching this video, then you can simply use the email associated with that Merchant Center. If you are currently logged in with that email at this stage, you can select the existing Merchant Center. Since I don't have an existing Merchant Center for the site, but I do for others, I can log into different Merchant Centers with the same email. I click Create a new Merchant Center and confirm that I have read it. Terms of service, as if I have a choice if I don't agree. Create it differently. The process of creating a new Merchant Center is underway. We are waiting for this procedure to be completed, because without this step, we cannot move forward. That's it, it's done. As you can see, I have the name of my domain here, the Merchant Center ID, and it says connected. So this section, Set Up Your Accounts, will look something like this. There should be a green check mark and it should say connected. Click Continue to proceed. Audience section. It is very important to dedicate time, effort, and focus and attention to your settings here. The language from your website's language. Mine will be in English. I have Ukrainian set, choose Ukrainian, and the corresponding countries. What does this affect? It affects not just the settings of your Performance Max, but also the settings of your FIDA Merchant Center. So don't click anything, select the country, select the language, proceed accordingly. Next, shipping rates. What are shipping rates? These are the delivery settings that will be uploaded to your Merchant Center feed, plus possibly your Merchant Center settings. Which of these options should you choose? Let's agree that if you are definitely launching your online store in Ukraine, it is advisable to select the option called My Shipping Settings Complex. You will need to manually enter all these settings into the system, ensuring each field is filled out correctly and completely. If, for example, you're launching in Europe, I don't know, in Australia, Canada, or the States, you will most likely use some kind of automatic integration with delivery services, such as FedEx and UPS. If you have this automatic integration with delivery services, then you can leave the recommendation block, meaning automatically synchronize my shipping settings. Sometimes it might be easier for you to initially set up the shipping process and procedures. If it's easier for you, this option might also work. That is, you can set the delivery rate right away, and let's say I leave it at 0. I have free shipping on all orders, and the time, how many days it might take. For example, on average in Ukraine, it's 3 days. I remind you, sometimes it is easier for Ukraine to leave this block and manually set it directly in Merchant Center, or the recommended block, which means automatic synchronization. If you have automatic integration with delivery services, or if your shipping cost depends on weight or volume, or if you have a completely different shipping calculation mechanism, such as, for example, then choose Recommended. I will choose this block to show how it looks directly in Merchant Center. Click Continue, Proceed. Next, we will definitely be asked to verify our phone number. Why is phone number verification necessary? Please note that this phone number will be directly associated with your Merchant Center. This means that this phone number should be correctly and clearly displayed on your website. What does it affect? First of all, it affects the verification process. That is, how adequate or inadequate the verification will be. Therefore, it is desirable for the phone number to be more or less reasonable, so to speak. I will now enter the phone number, confirm it, and right after, we will continue. So, I have my address and phone number confirmed. Next, be very careful with your store's address here. It is preferable that the correct address is specified in the commerce settings, exactly the one you need there. I have some gibberish written here as a demonstration. It is preferable that this address, along with the zip code, matches exactly with what is displayed on your website visually. This is very important. If you encounter any issues during the verification of your store, it's better to ensure all your information matches is accurately tracked. I skip this step to save time, but if you have correctly entered all the addresses here, then most likely everything will be great. Let's move on. We check all these boxes. We don't really have much choice without all these addresses. Is required. Refresh to sync. So it still won't let me in. All right, we'll just fill it out completely then. Done. Click on the Continue button right now. Got it. Next, we move on to the following section. Initially, in the product feed status, in our product feed, it will indicate that our product listing is ready for upload, and it will show that we have a total of 27 products. Yes, well, I don't have much. It's a template site. Next, we definitely need to connect Google Ads. If I already had a Google Ads account under the email I used when setting up my accounts, it would most likely have prompted me to select an existing text again, most likely again, perhaps even. But since I don't have it, I will create it directly and easily. That is, I will click Create Account, and it will not create an ad account. They even offer to spend $500 and get $500 in credit. Let's move on. So, look, we can create an ad campaign at this very particular stage, which is crucial, or alternatively, we can skip it. I strongly suggest you skip it if your Merchant Center hasn't been verified yet. I will click Skip this step because I will show you an alternative way to set up Performance Max when you don't need to rush. Once everything is perfectly fine with the Merchant Center and all conversions are set up, you can then create Performance Max otherwise. At this particular stage, it absolutely makes no sense. Okay, maybe later. And that's it. Now, what do we need to see here? The first thing we can see is this detailed and comprehensive overview block. Here, information about the number of products and how they look will be loaded. There are various different reports here, even some general and comprehensive port. All right, let's do it this way. Initially, only the free listing was uploaded here. So this is a free advertisement. If we want to add another paid block, we can do this in various ways and several formats. We can simply and easily click Add Paid directly. We can create an ad campaign, something small for now, right now, and see how it performs. Or we can go to our Merchant Center. How do we access our Merchant Center? I'll show you now. We follow the link to Merchant Center. Here we have. Select another account. Here's our Merchant Center. I just selected it just. I just have several Merchant Centers. I go into this perfume. See what I have here? If I go to the Products tab in the Feed section, I will see that I have a feed called Content Update, which is essential for managing and updating content. If your Merchant Center interface is displayed as the new and improved Merchant Center next, then you can easily find your feed in the Setup Tools section, which is located in the Setup Tools section. There will be a drop-down menu and data sources. You select the sources to see your feed. There are 3 programs and display ads are enabled. This includes dynamic remarketing, free listings, and shopping ads. So we just clicked this button and this paid program is already connected. Why am I emphasizing this? You can initially go through the Merchant Center verification on the free listing and then add paid advertising directly. It's very easy to add. You can either go to your feeds, just simply click the pencil icon directly in the settings and add the program yourself, or you can click Add Campaign here, go through just a few more steps, and it will load for you. What do we have in this case? We have a product feed. You see, we have a bunch of different products here. We have some basic settings here that are essentially, in fact, not really modifiable at all. So we have this Merchant Center that is created specifically for us. We already have errors here because Google Ads is not connected or something else. We will get to how to connect it shortly. We are now currently at the stage of establishing the Merchant Center. Next, after we saw an image showing that some products have started to load. I see 27 products here. Yes, they're all now going for review, pending. This review can be successful or unsuccessful, and remember that it takes 3 days. But before that, I would recommend going into your settings and checking both shipping settings and business information to make sure everything is correct. If you are launching in the States, make sure to configure tax settings. If you have Merchant Center next, this panel with shipping and other settings will be located on the left. I simply had an old version of Merchant Center set up. I click on Navigate to my shipping settings page, and what are we planning to do? We need to check if they were entered incorrectly. This is our delivery, which was automatically generated when we set these specific settings we configured. What exactly do we need to check here? We must make sure to correct all of this information to how it should look. That means you need to specify the time until which you process orders correctly, precisely, and accurately. That means this important information must also be duplicated on the website in the shipping policy section. So, for example, I have Kiev, for instance. I select that it is open until 8 p.m. every day. After that, you absolutely must fill in the order processing time. This is the processing time, not the delivery time, the time to ship the product. If, for example, you process orders around the clock, then you can write 00. If, like me, you accept orders until 8 p.m. or 4 p.m. and then process and send everything that came in later the next day, then I set it to 01. Well, you set Monday, Sunday, or Saturday yourself based on your work schedule and transit time. For me, it will be approximately 1 to 3 days as indicated. Sometimes you can set it other way around 2 to 3 days, depending on your settings. Moving on, I make sure to go into this section and carefully check what is thoroughly set up here. Since I said last time that it would be free for me, you should indeed have a similar situation. If you suddenly and unexpectedly need to redo something, let's say you need to accurately calculate the shipping based on the order cost. Well, if you choose weight, you need to load additional attribute. As for fit, I don't have it. Or the product number, you fill all of this in. If you don't have shipping or something else there, you take all of this and fill it in based on what is set up on your website. Basically, it is absolutely very important that this information completely and accurately corresponds precisely to what you have stated in your shipping policy or shipping terms. I suggest not setting up returns for now. A different story. Better to go through Madrasa and handle returns. Taxes. It makes sense to start with only one country for now. That country is the United States. Here you can do as you like. You can use some universal settings, set your own. For instance, for example, choose states. Let's say I switch to advanced settings, select all states, and here you either set these tax tags manually, or the system calculates them automatically, whatever is convenient for you, certainly. I don't have any taxes, so I don't fill this out in particular. And the next very important section you need to check is the detailed information about your business. Be sure to check that the store name is either your domain name or included in the domain name or logos on your site. Next, be sure to verify the address, such as the street and city. Just remember Kiev is a separate region, so Kiev Oblast is not specified here. The address must exactly match the one on your website. Essentially, this is what we entered in the previous step, but double check it just in case. The same applies to the phone number. You can choose to fill out the section or not, but it's better if you do. I will skip it because it's not critically important to me. Next, as you can see, we have the website tab. Everything is confirmed and verified. We don't set up checkout here, and branding can be skipped. Nothing needs to be filled out. It's not critical for us. So at this stage, we have a detailed merchant center with comprehensive business information, including various shipping information and thoroughly uploaded products covering different aspects. 3 programs are enabled, including dynamic remarketing, free listings, and paid ads. If something didn't activate, go to the growth section, which I call program management, and make your selection there. Here we have a shopping asset where a stage is skipped. Here product data is missing as the products are still being moderated. And here setup steps are missing because we haven't connected Merchant Center and Google Ads yet, but that will be in the next stage. I will explain how to connect all of this together. We are done with the Merchant Center for now at this point in time. The only thing left is to wait for our site to be fully and completely verified and for us to be told that everything is fine, so we can proceed with advertising. Well, in the previous step, we created a merchant center and automatically uploaded products there, just like in the last lesson. We see everything happened easily. In a few clicks, generate any links. Another advantage of this data export format is that if you change your attributes on the website, such as the name to something else, the description, or any other details in the product cards, it will automatically be updated in Google Merchant Center within 15 to 30 minutes. Therefore, with this format of export, you are least likely to encounter issues such as price discrepancies, availability, or other things. We are moving on to the next very important stage. This stage will include setting up analytics for launching Performance Max and Google Shopping for WordPress or WooCommerce more accurately. Where do we need to start? Initially, we will set up the analytics in several very important stages. The first step, we will create the actual account for the 4th analytics. We will need it so that you can later on analyze the effectiveness of different traffic sources to your website. First. Second, it might be worth evaluating how responsive your website is overall or if it has a good enough engagement rate. From the customer side, that is, the buyers, right? And one more stage of analytics that we will do is set up a separate conversion. It will be configured directly in Google Ads. We will set it up separately because as of the time I am recording this video, which is June 2024, it is preferable for Performance Max or Google Shopping to work correctly and efficiently on an automatic profitability strategy. So that enhanced conversion data is transmitted. Enhanced conversion data involves the transmission of email and phone numbers. It sounds complicated, but it's actually not difficult. We'll go through everything step by step, create it, nothing complicated here. In some moments, you might have to put in effort. You can, if needed, find some other alternative way to set all this up. I am showing you another method that is highly effective and efficient, that works consistently, always succeeds, has the fewest bugs with minimal issues and disruptions, and therefore works almost everywhere, making it reliable. If you have an alternative option, you can use it. I am showing it for me.